Hello, beautiful people. Everybody that is tuning to my channel. I am your host, Robert Garcia, the No Sales Pressure, Just Education guy, delivering to you weekly content, weekly videos. I hope you are doing well today. And today we're going to be talking about new construction. Believe it or not, new construction is having some rough moments right now. Who remembers that back in March of 2020, new construction was not quite doing that well. And then the pandemic hit. And then, of course, the swing of the market came in where everybody basically started to make good money. If you were a seller or a builder, you really did make good money at that period of time. So, but now things have changed. Now, remember, builders have been dealing with issues regarding the sourcing of the construction supplies. So from lumber, nails, drywall, paint, flooring, carpet, lights, I mean, fixtures, you name it. They have had a lot of issues. So CNBC just had an article that just came out recently that it says sales of newly built homes tumbled over 16% in April while prices soared. So isn't that going in opposite directions? One thing goes this and the other one goes over there. But the reality it is true because remember, builders still had some inventory that they had not been able to release because they were dealing with permitting issues, materials issues, and so on. So now all that is has come to a conclusion, and because demand was still high. And remember, the Federal Reserve got to start increasing the interest rates pretty aggressively in the month of March. So March, April, now to May, into June, that's when we have seen the increase. So what happens to certain buyers is that they decided to go ahead and get aggressive before interest rates will go higher. So somebody would have said, I'd rather buy a house at 4.5% versus 5.25, right? That was still a very significant adjustment and savings. So a lot of people decided to jump in that direction and make it happen that way. So that's why you saw the increase in the prices, although the future sales were not as optimistic, or the sales of other homes wasn't as optimistic as expected. So let's keep going through this article. uh, the median price of a new home sold in April was $450,000. That's an increase of nearly 20% from the year before. Not surprised. I just recently saw a property here in Potomac, Maryland, that it got listed at $1.1 million. A beautiful house, single family home, and it sold for 1.526. So that's about $426,000 more. So not surprised that there was a huge big jump. And if you look at that price point, it's probably more than 20%. Um, the slowdown of the newly built home, it was caused because of the supply also of the sourcing the materials. So let's go. Says here, says sales of the new homes dropped 16.6 in April from March, far more than expected, and were down 26.9 from April 2021. Yikes, that's very painful. So not only dropped from one month to another, it's 16% from the previous years, is almost 30%. That's according to the US Census. So that's pretty harsh. The annualized rate came into 591,000 units, and this is seasonally adjust. Analysts had been expecting about 750,000 for the month of March, but that also came a little bit lower. So this is just to give you an idea. These numbers are based on signed contracts during the month, not closing. So perhaps the most up-to-date indicator in the housing market. Mortgage rates, which have been rising since January, really shot up in April. The average rate on the 30-year fixed loan began the month at 4.88% and ended at to 5.41%, according to Mortgage News Daily. So this is a contraction that the market is going to experience. So in other short videos that I've done before, what I'm saying to you is houses will probably sit on the market a little bit longer than expected, and that's something that it's coming. It's something that we cannot. Buyers will slow down the purchase. The absorption rate will really slow down, and buyers will have to think it twice because first have to put food on the table to pay for current housing, gasoline, right? Another thing, and of course inflation. And let's be honest, we're going into vacation time, and many families have been indoors and not able to go outside for the last 18 months to 2 years. So some people are probably going to plan that Disney, vacation. So that's something that is really coming, and a lot of people just going to have to make it to the house, it's a vacation, it's a new car, it's a just keep saving more money. And in times of uncertainty, what do we tend to do is we stop spending, we stop using the cash that we have. And what do we do instead? We keep the cash in our pockets. We don't put the cash out there. We don't spend on other things. I think the auto industry also had some numbers that were not as expected. I think like the big stores like Aldi, I think, Target, I think, Costco, and Walmart did not post earnings as expected because they're now starting to suffer the pain of people not going to spend the same amount of money in many things. And let's all be honest, okay? It used to be that you can go to the store and buy a nice piece of steak for probably $20 to $25. Well, now the same piece of steak, it's probably going to cost you 35, not $40. I was going to the store not long ago, and I was just looking at what a ribeye will probably cost you. 2 pounds of ribeye, and it's almost $45 right now. So that's very expensive. And if you have a family of, two adults, 2 kids, or 3 kids, that makes it almost impossible. That's you buying it at the store, bringing it home, and doing it yourself. And I imagine going to a restaurant, the prices at restaurants actually have gone up too. So that you're probably looking to pay $90 to maybe 100 to have a nice piece of steak going to a restaurant. So these are the things that are going to start impacting the housing market, and people are not going to make housing a priority. Now, you might be asking, so what happened with the people that bought homes for over $2, $3,000 or $50,000 above the asking price? I don't know what's going to happen with them. If their plan was to stay there in the long run, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be safe. If their plan was to be a step up house, meaning that was not their forever home, I think they're in trouble because the market eventually is going to contract a little bit, it's going to adjust, it's going to correct. And that's potentially where we are going to see some issues with people that bought houses. Now, a lot of people are saying, is it 2007, 2008 again? I don't think so because our lending practices have been more responsible and have been much better from previously. But it's still, there's going to be some people that are going to be underwater. Now, are we going to see the bubble burst? I don't know if that is, you want to call it a bubble, because the millennials are now at an age where they want to start having kids, they want to start having a family, or they wanted to just own real estate. Not only that, but also big corporations are buying homes so they can actually get on the wave of the real estate and make some money, make some profit. So, there is a mix of different things that's going to happen. Definitely that staying and working from home will continue to be something that is going to shape up the housing market. And if more companies are going to start doing the hybrid, go sending people to work from home more and not require them to come back to their offices as a full time, I think we're going to see these housing demand continue more stable, less crazy, more responsible, but still there's going to be a demand. And builders are just going to hit a point of no return if the demand stays the same way, but they don't have the materials available to keep building homes. They're not going to be applying for new permits as they have been, and they're potentially going to have to wait for a little bit longer. So these are my points here. The local real estate market here in the Washington, D.C. metro area continues to be very healthy. However, I'm sure we are going to feel some pain at some point. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll leave here in the comments below the my channel, the articles I use for this. I hope you guys can read them, take a look at them, let me know your thoughts, and remember, do me a big favor. If you find my content valuable, if you find my lives to be valuable, to click like, subscribe, make comments, share with other people, and I promise I will continue to bring more content on a weekly basis. And remember, I'm not about sales pressure. This is only education. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye bye.